Hello, fellow warriors against consensus reality, purveyors and seekers of truth, wisdom, knowledge, and the esoteric path, slayer of gobshites and mouthy assholes everywhere, wielders of the blade sarcasm. It's the middle of summer, it's ever so slightly humid and it's overcast. Oh, how I love it. I've spoken to, in my 17 years of customer service, you can imagine I've spoken to a wide variety of customers, and I've always enjoyed speaking to British expats and the Irish. I tell them, well, okay, you're living over here, especially to the Irish. How about I sort of swap and move into Galway, a country where it's overcast much of the time. Sounds absolutely fucking great. Alright? I hate the sun. Not only do I hate it, but I'm sort of light sensitive. So when it's bright and sunny and whatever, and all these convicts are happy and chirpy, I'm kind of like a vampire in sunlight. I hate Australian beach culture. I hate the peroxided, mouthy, leather-faced, scrawny little bonk-smoking, surfy assholes that I was surrounded with in high school. Who, of course, never took it physically, because even then I still had the size, and I could, if I was pushed far enough, they knew that I was capable of doing grievous bodily harm. Even though I wasn't violent in any way, and I was coming into it a relatively happy child. But there you go. I had no idea what I was going to say today, but those are usually the best kind of videos. But it's always painful to me to watch carefully scripted videos. There's no mistakes, there's no spontaneity, there's no connection to your higher self, to your own inner guidance and your own wellspring of knowledge and wisdom. Of course, you need to bypass the ego mind and all its cronies, namely incessant fear-mongering, undeservedness, all the rest of those wonderful fruits of ego mind. Yeah, it's kind of funny because I came across a song from the 90s, called, you know that song where it says, I'm only happy when it rains? Well, that's me. When I wake up and I see a grey sky and overcast, that makes me a wee bit happy. It's kind of funny, I was on a live stream chat the other week, and they thought I was Irish because I could do the voice quite well. I go, what? I go, no, I'm actually 100% Hellenic, living in an alien world called Australia, where the women are at their most entitled and mouthy. Yeah, and I go, no, I've just had quite a few Irish mates, and I can talk the talk. So don't be an absolute gobshite. Of course, I do. I've adopted that word. It's so effective in so many situations. And it's funny the way Australians look at me weird when I use that word. Fantastic. I will never forget an old Irish bloke at my old workplace. He was one of those sort of real characters that you meet, and talking about stuff, and I go, look, we could use your help in Northern Cyprus, and we'll help you with Northern Ireland. He kind of looked at me, we were talking about stuff, and he said, what do you think of the, he goes, you know what, we could use a strapping lad like yourself in the army, and he wasn't referring to the military. He goes, right, what do you think of the royal family, and he said it with such disgust. It was fantastic. I go, well, considering what they did to my own country and the backstabbing cunts they are, I'm not a huge fan. He goes, good lad. We had a good chat about that. Really, really interesting character. He goes, I told him one day I would like to move to somewhere like Ireland. He goes, well, what do you think of... I told him I'm not a fan of crowds and suburbia and modern gobshites in general. He goes, well, you could do quite well moving to the more remote areas of Galway. Because if you like if you're the weird type, you'd quite like that quite well. Because I make sure you bring your guitar with you. People, usually this time of the year, people try to come up with a couple of New Year's resolutions, and they realise that aspects of their life require change. And they usually start off with good intentions, and they don't last very long. Usually a month if you're lucky. See, we humans are unfortunately creatures of habit, and it takes quite a lot of energy and work to untrain ourselves from the unhelpful old habits and retrain ourselves with the wonderful new habits, which hopefully lead to a wonderful new life, if that is your goal. And as someone said, I think it was the Mindset Mentor podcast, if you want to change your life, you won't get it while still living your current life the way you were up until this point, if you don't change anything in your life. And that's so true. Many of us have that weird mistaken idea. Okay, I want this life and that change in my life, and you keep doing the same things out of habit, out of your comfort zone every day. Days go past, weeks go past, months go past, years go past. And yes, it takes a lot of work. Yes, you're talking about your comfort zone where ego mind is king and change is evil. But that's really not going to get you very far, is it? And yeah, that's probably the most painful thing you can do to yourself. Remove the shackles of ego mind and change perhaps a lifetime's worth of bad habits to make room for the wonderful new life that you crave. Look at me being a life coach. Wow. But it is possible. It just takes a lot of energy, and perhaps you might be suffering from depression and anxiety, which sucks. Those of you who do suffer from it know how effectively it sucks most of your energy, leaving you with even the idea of brushing your teeth a monumental task. And yeah, but it is possible, because really, when all is said and done, you wouldn't have been going through all the traumas and all the crap in your life if deep down you and your connection to the higher realm, the higher deity realm, you and quote unquote they didn't think you couldn't handle it. Which, of course, if you think about it, is kind of liberating, because it makes you realize that you're stronger than you thought, and you're more capable than you thought. And that's truly liberating. Even today, even with your own constant negative mind chatter, let alone this fucked up world, where you have people like the Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison and Boris Johnson in existence, right? Yeah, I really do feel sorry for you Brits. At least your Prime Minister isn't anywhere near as stupid as the convict one over here. It took a world number one tennis champion to expose the corrupt, fucked up, evil system that's in place, which shows that it has nothing to do with health or a virus whatsoever. I don't know what the guy's name is. Djokovic or whatever the fuck his name is. I'm not a tennis fan. Who actually exposed them for the evil, backstabbing gobshites that they truly are. So kudos. So yeah, it's the first step if one is on the path of transformation and actually being happy for the first time in one's life. Is being more mindful with what you take in, with what you read, with social media. It might be prudent at this point to wean yourself off social media as much as you can, other than to perhaps Facebook Messenger chat with a couple of very important people, right? Because you'll notice if you pay attention when you scroll through a typical social media feed, how you feel afterwards. Not usually a positive state of mind. The words you will use, if you're honest with yourself, to describe how you're feeling, the words won't be positive. And it's the social media, it's the constant churning of the propaganda, the turning of the propaganda wheel, which constantly feeds people with all this incessant negative shit. And they just mindlessly parrot it, accepting it as fact, even though it's not. So you start with something like that, and you're well on your way to getting the necessary energy you need and channel it in other more productive areas. It is possible. If it wasn't possible, people wouldn't have been doing it for a long, long time. So, I really should start to get myself off the, I've been too long here in this country, which is why I've gained an Australian accent. Although not a typical one, I don't speak like a fucking ventriloquist like most of these gobshites seem to do. And the person on the above mentioned live stream actually said something which was one of the highest compliments someone can give me. You have a rather archaic turn of phrase. That is correct. I'm not a child of this modern age. I loathe it with the totality of my being, right? I mean, fuck, I've got a statue of Charles Dickens on my shelf, for fuck's sake, right? But I mean, I live in a country where actual football is not respected. Primarily, Bayern Munich is my team, followed very closely by West Ham United. I was an Arsenal man until they almost joined that billionaire club Super League crap, thereby shitting on their long-time fans. I thought, you know what, fuck you, I'm out of here. So I thought, West Ham United and Bayern Munich have been since Bayern Munich fans since the late 80s, during the glory days of Klinsmann. Those of you who follow football know exactly who I'm talking about. And Cantona and all those wonderful people. Which is another reason why I love to talk to British expats and Europeans in my old job. We could actually talk about actual football. But I digress. Yeah, be well, be reverent, be sarcastic. And as my custom created t-shirt says, don't fear the gobshites. To speak the truth is a lonely path, and the sarcastic lone wolf on guitar out.